Welcome to Chalk Talk, sponsored by US Sailing, who reminds you, as a college sailor, to go get your college sailing, US Sailing membership at a deep discount, ussailing.org. I'm Chris Love.
I'm Eric Stark.
And we have so much to look at, as always, but especially this weekend. 6 intersectional regattas sailed around the country. I was lucky enough to get to 2 of them. First off, we had the Duplin Women's, this one-of-a-kind event sailed out of Tufts. It's the women's only team race, and it's the only one of the season. BC wins a tiebreaker against Tufts to pick up its 2nd win in the event's 3-year history.
We came, we sailed, and we Duplined. Eagles on 3. 1, 2, 3. Eagles!
Just down the road, we have the Boston Dinghy Cup, sailed out of MIT and Harvard, a 3-division fleet race event, kind of an anomaly in the middle of the spring. Just as cold there as Brown edges out BC for the win.
And in Mesa, SUNY Maritime hosted the Admiral Moore team race. Hobart picked up a win there with their top team. Just across the Throgs Neck Bridge at Kings Point was the Old Guard. Harvard won both divisions, pick up the win there. And at the Zambecki team race hosted by ODU, Georgetown took another team race win. Coverage there on Sailgroove brought to you by Brooke Thompson.
Well, certainly a lot to look at there, but rather than picking apart the results, I think it's actually more interesting to see which teams sent their players where, and which events they were focusing on.
That's true, Chris. Harvard decided to fleet race for the last time before Team Race New England's. Team racing is going to be on top billing the next couple of weeks, and they get the win there in both divisions. Great experience for them. Yale, they gave a couple of new looks. Cam Coleman in A Division in the Intersectional, and Emily Billings sailing most races in B there at the Old Guard. Interesting move there for them. Joe Morris sailed 6 races there, so that was interesting that he was at the event but just not sailing. You know, that's its own experience in itself. And finally, Hobart, also in the New York area there, they decided they would put their top team at the lower quality Admiral Moore team race, but they got a lot of really good experience winning races, which can pay off a lot at the end of the season.
At the Zambecki, a little more traditional, we had some of the best team racers from the country. Last week we talked about a few of them, Boston College, Harvard, and Georgetown. This week we can add 2 more teams to that elite level team racing. The first is St. Mary's. You know, they started off the season a little bit cold. They suffered losses of Jesse Kirkland and Teddy Hale from their team racing squad last year. But their all-star crews have really been training and bringing along the new skippers. We've got Megan McGill, Ben Whitman, and Victor Diaz de Leon. So now you can consider these guys elite.
That's true, Chris. I'm also looking at Roger Williams. They return the Islanders, Cy Thompson, and Sean Bouchard, along with skippers Kelly Stannard and Bianca Rahm. Those guys are very solid, but I'm really interested to see these guys third. Josh Saltmarsh sailing with Sophie Bellicosa. You know, they were obviously good enough to be in the lead or tied for the lead going into the Final Four at the pretty competitive Zambecki this weekend. So I'm looking for them to keep doing that later this season. Remember, they've got the many-time multinational world champion Amanda Callahan, Colin Merritt coaching, so you know anybody can come up in that team.
Looking ahead to this coming weekend, very New England-centric weekend in college sailing, which is good for me because I live here. I wasn't sure about the Delam Women's. Brown always hosts it, but as you probably have heard, their venue, the Edgewood Yacht Club, burnt down over this winter. But I caught up with Fred Strammer, and he gave me a personal invitation.
Make sure you're going to come to the Delam, right? Check out Brown's new sailing center, the heated trailer.
I'm excited. I needed to ask your coach if the Delam was still happening at Brown, but it is.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We're very excited, and by the time we get back, we'll have heat and power to our module, and should be some great racing on the upper Narragansett Bay.
Competing at Brown this weekend, we'll have Hobart Williams Smith, Boston College, Yale, Brown, Vermont, Tufts, Dartmouth, Conn College, Coast Guard, URI, St. Mary's, UPenn, Stanford, USF, and Eckerd.
Pretty stacked, so who do you pick?
Well, it's real interesting. Like you said, it is stacked. I'm looking at teams that have done a lot of women's sailing already this season. I think some of the NISA teams might be a little behind on practice. I'm going to go ahead and take Yale. I think they'll probably put up Fowler and Billing, but they're so deep it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to look for, especially in B division, whoever it is that they happen to put in one of those upperclassmen to make up some points. Not that they'll have to. What do you got?
Well, Yale's a strong pick. They obviously started the season off very well, but as we mentioned last week, there's a whole group of women's teams who could put it together. And for this one, I got to go with the home team. Brown sailing in an open water venue, 420s, and I guess they'll be the only ones used to sailing out of a container instead of a yacht club. So I'm going to take Brown for this year's Delam. Then on Sunday, I'm going to head a little bit further down the road to New London, Connecticut, where we have the 2-race course Southern New England team race, hosted by Coast Guard Academy and Connecticut College. There we've got Harvard, Brown, Yale, Roger Williams, BC, Vermont, Tufts, College of Charleston, Coast Guard, St. Mary's, Navy, Hobart William Smith, New York Maritime, Kings Point, Stanford, and Dartmouth. Georgetown noticeably absent from this event.
Yeah, Chris, this is probably the best team race of the year. It's a little bit later in the season than the combined venue Graham Hall team race, so some of those northern teams have more practice, and well, really all the teams have more practice. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm going to have to go ahead and take Harvard. I think at this stage of the season, their experience and discipline will pay. This doesn't mean they'll be there at the very end of the season, but I think at this point they'll get the win.
All right, well, I'm going to go with Boston College because in my years hosting Chalk Talk, I've found that if you don't pick up Boston College, they usually go out and win the event. And Eric, you are up 7-5, carrying the scores over from the fall. So this will be my chance to tie it up.
Or my chance to pull ahead.
Continuing down I-95, we've got Yale hosting the sort of B division team race of the weekend, the Farallone. And on the West Coast, St. Francis Yacht Club hosting the St. Francis Yacht Club Intersectional. That's a fun one too. You got, I think, 23 schools or more hosting multiple teams, women's, JV. Awesome stuff.
So I'm going to really try to tune into all that. I will be in Palma, Spain, competing at the Princess Sofia Trophy, the third event on the ISAF Sailing World Cup.
And you and your crew, Trevor Moore, leading the ISAF standings in the World Cup series, as I recall.
Yeah, we're looking to defend that this week. So cheer us on from back in the States.
All right, will do. Good luck, and we will see you next week.
See you then.